What is dimensional analysis? Dimensional analysis is a really fancy name for a really simple sounding technique. To use dimensional analysis, we let what we know about units of measure suggest what arithmetic we should do. The simplest thing we can possibly do with dimensional analysis is to convert from one unit of measure to another. And it all comes down to what we call conversion factors or unit conversion ratios. So what is this thing called a conversion factor, and how do we make use of it? Well, as we know, any fraction that has the same numerator and denominator is equal to 1. So for example, 6 over 6, 3 over 3, 287 over 287, or even if they look different from each other, for example, 0.5 over 0.50. These two decimals are equal to each other, so this fraction still equals just 1. And this insight about even if they look different, this is the key to setting up these conversion factors. Because when I say 60 seconds equals 1 minute, for example, I really mean equals. 60 seconds and 1 minute are just different ways of expressing the same amount of time. Right? So just like 2.5 and 5/2 express the same point on the number line, and so we say they're equal. 60 seconds and 1 minute express the same span of time, so we say they're equal. That means that if a fraction has 60 seconds in the numerator and 1 minute in the denominator, or 1 minute in the numerator and 60 seconds in the denominator, that fraction is equal to 1. These fractions, where the numerator and denominator are in different units, but the fraction itself is equal to 1, are called conversion factors. And we're going to make use of these conversion factors in order to convert from one unit of measure to another. Let's see how that works. Let's suppose that James runs at top speed on the treadmill for 180 seconds. And we'd like to know, how long is this in minutes? This is what we're going to do. We're going to multiply 180 seconds by a fraction equal to 1. Now, we have seconds, and we want minutes. And we hopefully are aware that 1 minute equals 60 seconds. You should be aware of all of these relationships for time. 1 minute is 60 seconds. 1 hour is 60 minutes. 1 day is 24 hours. 1 week is 7 days. There are two fractions equal to 1 that come from this fact. They are 1 minute over 60 seconds, or 60 seconds over 1 minute. We need to choose one to multiply by. This is where the dimensional analysis comes in. Option 1. I could multiply 180 seconds, which I'm going to write as 180 seconds over 1, times 1 minute over 60 seconds. Or I could multiply 180 seconds over 1 times 60 seconds over 1 minute. These are my only two options, right? If I swapped just the numbers around, that wouldn't equal 1 anymore. Let's see what happens. Up here, I would have 180 times 1 seconds times minutes over 1 times 60 seconds. Oh, I see that seconds is a common factor that cancels out. And I'm just left with 180 times 1 minutes over 1 times 60. Minutes is the only unit that's left. That's what I want, isn't it? Let's make sure the other one doesn't work. Here I would have 180 times 60 seconds times seconds over 1 times 1 minutes. Oh yeah, and I see nothing cancels there. This is not what I want. This is what I want. I want 180 over 60 minutes over no unit at all. Or simplifying this, I think I can just divide 60 into 180. I think that goes exactly 3 times, right? 3 times 6 is 18. So 3 times 60 is 180. Nothing left over. So this is just 3 minutes. That tells me that what my 180 seconds was equal to 3 minutes. And so in my story, James runs for 3 minutes. I'm going to have you try one of these. Eric studies for 4 hours each day. How many minutes is this? Notice 1 hour equals 60 minutes. Pause the video and try this now. So, we have 4 hours, which we're going to write as 4 hours over 1, because we're about to do fraction arithmetic to it. Now, we want to know which conversion factor to multiply by. 1 hour is 60 minutes. That means 1 hour over 60 minutes, or 60 minutes over 1 hour. Both are equal to 1. Which one do we want to multiply by? Well, we would like, after we multiply, for hours to cancel out. So we're going to write hours in the denominator, which means that we want 60 minutes over 1 hour. Notice that indeed, after we multiply, hours will cancel and we'll be left with only minutes. In fact, we'll be left with 4 times 60 minutes over 1. Let's see, 4 times 60. 4 times 6 is 24. So 4 times 60 is 240. And that's a number of minutes.